Vecna the villain, cries social media. What if Stranger Things has been lying to us from the very beginning? What if the thing we call a monster is actually the closest thing this story has to a hero? And what if the real villains of Hawkins are not creatures from another dimension, but the people who live right next door? In this video, we are turning the whole story upside down, because when you really look at Vecna's past, his purpose, and his victims, the picture gets a lot more complicated and a lot more uncomfortable. So let's ask the question nobody wants to ask. Is Vecna actually right about humanity? We meet Vecna as this terrifying, skinless, otherworldly creature, but that's not where the story starts. The story starts with a boy called Henry Creel. Henry is not a demon from another realm. He is a human child growing up in a deeply broken world. He is isolated, misunderstood, and increasingly aware that the people around him are cruel, hypocritical, and often pretending everything is fine when it clearly isn't. When his family moves to Hawkins, his parents hope a new town will fix him, because that's what people do with problems they don't understand. They relocate them, medicate them, or lock them away. Nobody tries to understand Henry, they just try to contain him. Then comes the next step in his dehumanization, the lab. Dr. Brenner doesn't see a child, he sees a weapon. Henry, now known as subject number 001, becomes a test subject. Electrodes, surveillance, control, emotional manipulation, all done in the name of protecting humanity. This is the crucial point. Vecna is not an ancient cosmic evil that invaded our world. He is the direct result of human fear, human cruelty, and human ambition. He is what happens when a society decides it would rather exploit and torture its most unusual children than understand them. If Vecna is a monster, he is a monster that we built. Now look at the upside down. At first it seems like a totally alien world, dark, toxic, full of monsters, but then you notice something disturbing. It's Hawkins. The same streets, the same houses, the same geography, just frozen, decayed, and overrun by something parasitic. This is not just set design, it's symbolism. The upside down is a mirror. It reflects our world with the mask ripped off. In Hawkins, the town pretends it is safe, normal, and wholesome. But underneath, there is abuse, addiction, denial, bullying, cover-ups, and lies. The Upside Down takes that hidden rot and makes it literal, a world that looks like home, but is poisoned from the inside. Henry is thrown into this dimension and eventually becomes Vecna. He does not step into some random hellscape. He steps into the physical reflection of everything he already believed about humanity. That the world is sick and no one is doing anything about it. From this angle, Vecna is not bringing corruption into a pure world. He is aligning himself with a world that already reflects the corruption he's seen all his life. The Upside Down is not just where he lives. It is the proof that his worldview might not be completely wrong. Let's talk about how Vecna chooses his victims, because this is where the pure evil idea starts to crack. He doesn't just kill at random. He doesn't walk down the street and pick anyone. He targets people with deep, unresolved trauma and guilt. Chrissy, haunted by abuse and body shaming. Fred, weighed down by a fatal accident. Patrick, struggling with internal conflict and pressure. Max, consumed by grief and survivor's guilt. Before Vecna ever touches their bodies, he attacks their minds. He forces them to relive their worst memories, the things they are trying to bury and escape. He breaks through the denial that the rest of the world politely ignores. Is this sadistic? Absolutely. But it is also focused. He is not punishing innocence. He is punishing suppressed pain and hidden guilt. To him, Hawkins is a town that builds its peace on top of unspoken suffering. He wants to drag that suffering into the light in the most brutal way possible. This looks less like chaos and more like a twisted form of justice. He functions almost like a dark judge. You cannot hide from what you've done. You cannot outrun what you're feeling. You will be forced to confront your truth. That doesn't make him kind, but it does make him purposeful. He has a code, however horrific it might be. Now put Vecna's story next to what humans have been doing the whole time. Humans opened the first gate, chasing power without understanding the cost. Humans built a secret lab under a small town and experimented on children. Humans lied to parents, faked death, and covered up disaster after disaster. When strange things start happening, the town doesn't unite and seek truth. It turns on each other, hunting the nearest scapegoat. Think about Eddie. He's an outsider that was blamed almost instantly for the horrors Vecna creates. The town doesn't look at the government, the lab, and the history of cover-ups. It blames a Dungeons and Dragons playing teenager because fear always looks for a human scapegoat. Meanwhile, Dr. Brenner still believes he is the hero. In his mind, he is protecting the world by weaponizing traumatized kids. That sounds absolutely crazy. Politicians who fund him tell themselves the same story. This is all for the greater good. Seen from Vecna's point of view, humanity is endlessly self-justifying. We ruin lives, destroy families, create abominations, and then claim it was necessary. So when Vecna decides to cleanse the world of this hypocrisy, from his perspective, he is not starting a war. He is finishing what humanity began. 11 is framed as the hero, but her origin is terrifyingly similar to Henry's. She is taken from her mother. She is raised inside the same lab. She is experimented under the same man and for the same purpose, to be a weapon. She is isolated, monitored, punished, and tested. The only difference is that she is told she is special for it, and eventually pointed at the right targets. 11 and Vecna are mirror images. He is what happens when that system completely breaks someone. She is what happens when that system accidentally creates someone who still believes in love and connection despite everything. Both of them were used. Both of them were lied to. Both of them were told they exist to serve someone else's idea of the greater good. So when they finally collide, it is not just hero versus villain. It is two survivors of the same abuse, arguing about what the world deserves. Vecna believes the world needs to be torn down and rebuilt. 11 believes it can be saved and changed. The real question is not who has more power, but who is right about humanity. Look at Vecna's long-term plan. He doesn't just want to kill a few people and disappear. He wants to merge the worlds, to let the Upside Down consume Hawkins and ultimately everything. On the surface, that is pure annihilation, but through his eyes, it is correction. He sees a human world built on lies, exploitation, and denial, and a mirrored world that reveals all the hidden darkness. By bringing them together, he is forcing reality to match the truth. No more pretending, no more closed doors and secret labs. No more saying we didn't know while standing on top of the bodies. From a human perspective, this is unforgivable. From Vecna's perspective, this is justice on a cosmic scale. He sees himself not as a monster, but as the surgeon willing to amputate a diseased limb to stop the infection from spreading. He is willing to do what no government, no institution, and no grieving parent is prepared to do. Admit that the system itself is rotten and tear it down completely. Stranger Things constantly blurs the lines between good and evil. The good guys lie, steal, and kill when they think they have to. The bad guys often start as victims of the same system everyone else is trapped in. Heroes like Hopper carry deep trauma and a history of violence. Villains like Vecna carry deep trauma and a brutal sense of purpose. This is where the uncomfortable truth sits. There are no perfect heroes in this story. There are only people and beings responding to a broken world in different ways. 11 responds with protection and sacrifice. The townspeople respond with fear and scapegoating. The government responds with secrecy and control. Vecna responds with punishment and total reset. So is Vecna good? No. Is he evil? Yes, but not in a simple cartoon way. He is evil with a logic. Evil that grew from pain humanity refused to face. He is the shadow of everything Hawkins tried to bury. In that sense, Vecna is not just a villain, he is a consequence. When you strip away the jump scares and the 80s nostalgia, Stranger Things is asking one very serious question. Who really created the monsters? Was it the other dimension? Was it some cosmic evil? Or was it us? Our fear, our cruelty, our hunger for control? Vecna forces both the characters and the audience to confront that question. He is the physical embodiment of our worst choices coming back for us. So maybe the point is not, can 11 defeat Vecna? Maybe the real point is, can humanity change enough that beings like Vecna never have to exist in the first place? Until that happens, the line between hero and villain will always be blurry, and Vecna will never be just a monster in the dark. He will be a mirror held uncomfortably close to our face. So what do you think? Vecna the villain, or the brutal truth teller the human world deserves? Let me know in the comments. If you had his power, would you really do anything different? Love the video, hit that like and sub, and follow the channel for more of this bizarre world of strange stuff.